This is part 2 of 6.5 solving exponential equations. So now we have fractions. And I remember from my exponent rules, I would really like to make this, I'd really like to flip it around. So there's another way that I can write 1/2. I can write it as 2 to the negative 1. Oh yeah. The negative exponent says to flip it into its reciprocal. And 4 is going to be written as how? To the second power. So now this is 2 to the negative x equals 2 squared. Are the bases the same? Yes? So negative x equals 2, so x equals negative 2. Perfect. Okay. This one. Oh, there's a fraction there. I don't want that, but I also know that I'm going to try to make my bases what? The same. So what base do I want to make both of these? Oh, you could do it as 4, or we can break it down to 2. But let's go ahead and break it to 4. That's good. 4x plus 1. Oh, 64 is really 64 to the negative 1. And I also know that 64 is really 4 to the power of 3. So 4 to the power of 3. Oops. 4. Sorry. It's supposed to be that one. So now I'm going to bring it down. 4x plus 1 equals 4 to the negative 3. Are the bases the same? Yes. So x plus 1 equals negative 3. X equals negative 4.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here's a short introduction to using the TI-89 calculators for the purposes of Algebra 1, Mrs. Stewart's class. Okay, I want to get to the home screen. In order to get to the home screen, because when you grab it, it might be on something else, you're going to clear it, and the way that you're going to clear it is you're going to press this blue button that says second, and then you're going to press quit. So second, quit. That will take it to this home screen, so to speak. Now, just to get familiar with it, any of the directions that are in blue on all the keys, you have to press second. Which means, any of the directions that are in green, what do you think you have to press first? The little green diamond, yeah, to get to that. Okay, so that's the first part. So we're doing example 4 from your book, and I'm going to teach you how to put an equation into a graphing calculator and then graph it. So example 4 is 2 different equations. So we're going to learn to put 2 different equations into the calculator and graph it. Okay, so anytime we start with this, to graph, you always want to look for on your calculator this y equals button. So look somewhere in your calculator for the y equals. Now what color is it on this calculator? Green. So what do you think I need to press first to get to it? Diamond, F1. Okay, now notice there's a bunch of things that I have on there already. So I'm going to press this button right here, which is clear. And it doesn't clear it. So I'm going to move up 1. You see these arrow buttons here? It's going to move up 1, and then I press clear. So if you have anything already graphed in there, can you guys just go to that line and press clear so it's clear. Okay, now since there are fractions and since there are binomials, which is like a x plus 1 or x minus 1, you have to get used to using parentheses because of order of operations. So look at the first equation. The first equation says y equals 1/2. So to write 1/2, you're going to put parentheses. So here's my parentheses right here. Parentheses, 1 divided by 2. And if you notice, it's down here at this bottom screen. So what do I have to do with my parentheses now? You have to close it. So press this parentheses here, and then you're going to close it. Now notice, the x minus 1 is an exponent. In a previous tutorial, how do you get to that exponent? The caret. So right here is the caret. So you're going to press the caret. It puts the caret in. And that's x minus 1. You have to put that in parentheses. So again, you're going to press the open parentheses. You're going to put x. And if you look here, it's right here. Here's the x. So we're going to put x minus 1, and then I'm going to close the parentheses, and now I have that equation. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to press the enter key all the way down here, and what it does for my first equation, it writes it up here, and you check to make sure it's right. So one of the biggest mistakes that I do all the time is I don't write my problems down properly. So double check to make sure. So now we're going to put the second equation. The second equation is y equals what? 7. So that one's easy. So what do you think I put here for y2? 7. Okay, and then how am I going to get it to come up here? What do I press? Enter. Very good. You can press the enter key. Okay, now we have both equations. What we want to do is graph. Does anyone see the word graph on theirs?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what color is it?
Green.
It's green. So now I'm going to press diamond F3, which is graph, and your calculator may be zoomed to a different zoom. So let me teach you about the zoom.
Oh my God, that's
So it takes a minute to think. Okay, let's talk about the zoom right now. I want it to look like a regular, I want it to zoom out. So I have the same. So in order to do zoom, if you look here at the top, you see these up here? Which one is zoom?
Oh, F2.
F2. So I'm going to press F2. Now look, to get to what is normal, so to speak, you're going to scroll down, or you can also press the number. You're going to press zoom standard. And when I get to that 6, I'm just going to press the enter key again. And what it does is it zooms out. Okay. So now, once you have the two lines, the way you solve this system of equations, because it's two equations, it's an exponential equation and a linear equation, the answer is where they meet. So looking at these two lines, here's the answer. That's where they meet. Now, here's how you look on the calculator, because you can't read it. You're going to use, first, we're going to zoom. Actually, let's use something that's called trace. Does anyone see the word trace on there? Yes. F3. So I'm going to press F3 right now. And you're going to see your cursor. And your cursor, in order to move your cursor, you have to go left and right using these arrows right here. So I'm going to go left. And I'm going to move my cursor as close to that point of intersection as I can. That's where I think it is. But I don't know yet because I'm zoomed out. To get a more accurate answer, I'm going to zoom in. So let's go back to zoom, which is what? F2. And now I'm going to zoom in, which is number 2. And I'm going to press enter here, so make sure you press enter. And now I'm going to press enter again. So this is kind of weird. So I press enter once, now I'm going to press enter a second time. And it's going to zoom in to where my cursor was. So now look, does it look like it's accurate?
No.
No. So what feature am I going to use? Trace, right? I think I'm still on trace. Trace. Okay. I'm going to move left and right. Oh, look, that looks like I'm pretty dead on, right? Your answer is going to be your x. What's my x? Negative 1.8. And that is the answer. Okay, we'll do one more example, which is B. So, how do I clear this to get to my home screen? Second, quit. Okay, I want to graph equation. So which one do I press? I'm looking for the y equals. This is in green. So I'm going to press diamond y equals. Oh, look, there's something there, but I want to clear it. So I'm going to move the arrows to get up there. I'm going to press this button here, which is clear. I'm going to move it up again to this line, and I'm going to press clear. Okay, now I'm ready to write my two equations. So the first number I'm going to put in is 3. And then I need an exponent, so I'm going to press the caret. And it's a binomial, so I make sure to press the parentheses. So parentheses, x, which is right here, x plus 2, and you got to make sure to close those parentheses. And then I'm going to press enter, and I'm going to look at that equation. I'm going to make sure it matches what I have on my paper or my book. Does it match? Yes, so now I'm down to the second equation. Oh, great, no exponents there, pretty easy. I just type in x plus 1, and once I type it in, don't forget to press enter to put it there. Great, I have my two equations. Now I want to graph it. So what am I going to press to graph it? Diamond, graph. Oh, I'm kind of zoomed in a little bit, so this may not work. I have to wait a second. So there's one, and I don't see the other one yet. So let me zoom out. How do I zoom out again? I'm going to press F2, and then I'm going to press 6 for standard. Now notice right here, it says busy. That's because it's thinking. So there's one line. Oh, and there's another line. Goodness. Do those two lines intersect? No. So guess what? No solution.